Welcome to a dose of deeper contemplation. We have cultivated this self-healing practice as we navigate the many aspects of modern life with the desire to be a better human. As a psychic medium, these conversations are channeled, so let's take a walk together and talk it out. Whenever money appears to us in the form of a coin that we come across as we're walking, we understand this as a sign that in that moment, whatever the contemplation is, or whatever the conversation that's being channeled is, has value. What's really fun about this is that so much of our creativity is entrepreneurial creativity. As in, the inspirations that come through find somehow a path always in how to turn it into what's called business or commerce or industry or exchange or something along those lines. This interaction that we do as humans and typically call it business. Today, when the coin appeared and we realized what the contemplation was around, definitely was hilarious. Because when we look down and see a penny on the ground, what the contemplation was about our bullshit budget. It's fascinating to see what folks direct their resources to, their team. And I often share this message about your team, that your team that you have, that is your time, your energy, and money. These are our resources. These resources give us support to follow our destiny and our path. That is different for everyone depending on an inner calling. So your team is there to support your inner calling, whatever that may be. Now, at different stages of our life, we had different inner callings. In the earlier years, we thought our calling was to be a marine biologist. That was like high school times. And then we thought our calling was going to be a professional athlete. And then we thought our calling was going to be in the film industry, entertainment industry. And then we found a calling within professional organizing and design. And then we found a calling to just come back to ourselves. Oftentimes, folks call that a spiritual journey. And along this journey, in this present moment in time, we just understand our calling to be kind of one thing. This has been shared with us recently, and it helps simplify a lot that's been going on in life. But the calling is just to leave this planet having used my team, having used my resources to follow my calling, to have a human experience in the entirety of spectrum of experiences and emotions, and do what we can to help this planet and humanity before we leave. What's magical about that download is that simply in our time as a professional organizer, we had that mission statement in our business and with the people that worked for us and the people that worked with us, project assistants, things like that, that with Bright Living, we come in and we leave the space better, even if just a little bit better than it was the way we came in. It even held that creed, just going to the bathroom. Like if we went into the bathroom, if there is an empty toilet paper roll, for instance, left on top of the replaced toilet paper roll, but not thrown away, we would just throw it away. Or If it's just sitting on the countertop, we just take a moment and pop that toilet paper roll right into the holder. It's not my house, but I've been invited there to help it feel better. I've been invited there to bring in the energy of order and the energy of beauty. And it's amazing to see the similarities at this moment in the timeline of our existence, where so many of those other callings on those timelines are in service to where we are in this timeline right now. This timeline being Eden, oftentimes equated by age, 42 years old, where we're at in life, this version. And in this version, the calling is so strong. And maybe that has to do with an overall timeline. Some say we would be midlife. Okay, let's call it that. Let's say there's another 40 years here. We've already spent 40. We're halfway there. The calling within us is present because it has to do with why we came here. And how am I doing on that mission? What's my engagement level? What's my devotion? What's my commitment to my calling? Now, why this became such a hilarious moment with finding the penny is because the bullshit budget is a way we were understanding how we're taking part of our team, which is our money, and how are we spending it? How are we directing that fundage? How is it a support for us to continue even further in to that mission, into that calling, into being that impact? Now, interesting enough, we actually can have a bullshit budget for all of those resources, for our time, for our energy, for our money. Bullshit budget. How much of our money are we spending on bullshit? Now, labeling something as bullshit is an individual journey. How we were contemplating it for ourselves is using money and giving money for anything that continues the constructs of distraction from ourselves, from our energy, who we are, and the possibility for humanity. We actually began this exploration quite some time ago, and it came with the blessings of transgender and understanding and remembering our authentic, fluid self already outside of so many constructs right then and there. And part of that journey was to see how much time, energy, and money, specifically money in this conversation, was going towards what an industry was calling beauty and defining beauty as, labeling beauty, judging beauty. Such a misunderstanding, because beauty is in all things. If we're addressing the physical matter, as in the body, we'll explain it, because in this example, we'll use ourselves, and that for quite some time was used as a belief system. Belief system, in order to buy in to the beauty industry, you have to buy in to its belief systems. You have to buy in that there's something about you that you have to fix or change. At least that's how we were experiencing it. We were buying makeup and putting it on our body every day because we thought we had to in order to be accepted. The other side of this coin, of course, is those who do allocate their resources to beauty products because it simply makes them happy to adorn themselves. That was not our experience. And so this share is really for anyone else who maybe felt a similar experience. We are speaking of makeup, but there was always something. There's also hair, There's awesome nails. There's skin. And then there's so many parts of the skin. There's the face cream and the hand cream and the body cream and the thigh cream and the foot cream. There's the clothes, the bag, the jewelry, everything in between. We did a whole journey of inner work in order to disrupt this belief system. We called it our beauty rehab, and we dedicated to a daily practice of no longer using makeup, no longer using beauty products, chemically based beauty products, and just worked on healing our skin, healing ourselves, seeing our own beauty, and healing that inner misogyny, that belief system that told me it was not okay to go outside without my face on, not okay to go to work and be considered professional without taking time, energy, and money to change my appearance. There are many aspects of that journey that we are so grateful for, and one of them being is that it allocated a significant amount of our bullshit budget back into our impact budget, let's call it, into our calling budget, into being able to invest and have funds to create with, to have an impact with, to devote to this present life and see where we can make it a little brighter. Where can we end lineage traumas? Where can we end cycles of abuse? Where can we end misogyny and racism? What can we do while we're here to help dismantle these controls and these mechanisms that are very much at play within the human mind? The way we began to put our bullshit budget together is we asked ourselves, where am I being distracted and where am I being devoted? What are the distractions? What am I using my money for to distract me? To distract me from a calling, to distract us from our calling, to distract us from just being present and the power of what being present is. Being still, having a chance to look at the natural world and observe the beauty and amazingness of the natural world that lives here with, well, I said lives here with us, but that was definitely coming from that, again, human construct that like, oh, this is humans' planet and everything lives here with us. It was kind of the vibe around that, which is just not true. What's interesting about being present and just observing the natural world around us doesn't require anything. A client of mine the other day who has dogs said that the dog looking out the window is dog TV, which is so great and such a cue from animals. Being present does not require anything, which essentially means that we're not spending money in that moment. And such a gateway to having more fundage is to practice stillness, to have moments where we don't need anything. We don't need to be looking at our phones. We don't need to be engaged in show or a game or an app, online shopping. These are not things that we need. It is actually enjoyable and peaceful to not be in a constant distraction mode. Now, we still really love the experience of going to the movies. So your bullshit budget can be whatever. We'll still keep going to the movies once a month, as don't really have much time for it outside of that. Go to the movies once a month. That feels like a self-care indulgence. But it would be so powerful for us to do an experiment and see what would transpire within our resources, time, energy, and money to allocate even just a little bit more towards the calling. We've never been big on restriction. There are some like amazing folks out there who can devote to like diets and rigid exercise routines or disciplinary routines in some way. Perhaps it's the rebellious spirit within us, but sometimes if you say you can't have that, or I say can't have it, now all of a sudden I'm like, oh yes, I can. That's kind of been our plight. However, maybe we flip the script on that and say, what do you want more? Do you want to binge on that Netflix show for 9 hours straight? What would happen if instead we worked on our book for 9 hours straight? That would move some manifesting energy, right? This is the conversation we have with ourselves. What if you poured those resources into creating? What if you read a book for 9 hours straight on something that helps you learn? What if you practiced your Hapkido for 9 hours straight? What if you sat down to learn 4 phrases in Spanish for 9 hours straight? Let's even be a little less rigid. Let's say we binge watch for 4 hours and then the other 5 hours dedicating to the calling. What's the sliding scale of the budget here, of the bullshit budget? Within the bullshit budget is also a contemplation. You have to identify what is the bullshit in your life. What is the bullshit in your life? What happens even if just for a time period you reduce the bullshit? Let's talk about energy. What's the energetic bullshit? What's emotionally draining you? What feels like drama that you really don't want to be a part of, but somehow continue to get sucked into? Where are you normalizing abuse from others or within yourself? The invitation for ourselves and anyone else who this might resonate with, a powerful journaling exercise would be to contemplate your bullshit budget within your time, energy, and money. Identify those aspects and then dedicate to changing it in some way. In some way. Whether that's you're going to go all out, that's it, cold turkey, don't need to spend $100 at a bar on alcohol anymore. Just need to block that person. Just need to cancel our Netflix subscription. So that's an example pretty close to home. What if you reduced it by any percentage? Maybe you don't go all out, but maybe you just take one step away from the bullshit and one step towards your calling. Thank you so much for being in this conversation with us. This is Deep Dose, and we are Eden.